Good evening, everyone. Sunny here. I hope everyone is going well and have had a safe last few days over the Easter period for those in Christian-based countries, and for those in Southeast Asia, the predominantly Buddhist countries, Happy New Year. To Nepal, parts of India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Burma. I think I've listed most of them, so Happy New Year to you all. It's a hard time when you can't get out and celebrate how you ordinarily would do. Today's reading is all about communication, and this is absolutely one of my favourite subjects. I love communication. I love developing my own communication skills. This is all about how to... some people will find this that they might be familiar with these types of communication conversations. But I thought it's also very useful to refresh, and it might be a really good time at the moment to refresh your communication and personal interaction and emotional skills at this time, because we are all living in close quarters. So I hope this provides some good refreshing and further reminders and clarification. Really keen to discuss this more, so feel free to comment below, and looking forward to hearing what you think about it. So Chapter 12, Brave Communications. Bold, clear and kind communication is pivotal for a fully empowered life. Every aspect of our lives is affected about how we interact with each other. Many people believe they can communicate well and have good or reasonable communication skills. And they might be right. But have you ever known have you ever not known what to say? Have your words not come out the way you planned or wanted? Have you ever gotten angry and blurted out stuff you later regretted? Have you ever wished you had the perfect words to say? Have you ever thought over and over again about a conversation and wondered how it could be better? Bold, clear and kind communication can change and enhance your whole world. I have always known that communication is everything, yet I have not always practiced communicating in the ways I've wanted to. My vision of myself being a goddess of communication with the right words always on hand at the right time has definitely been lacking many times over. You did this to me. Sunny, you need to start phrasing what you're saying in I statements, like, I feel hurt when you took away my dress. But it's your fault. I'm not going to answer until you use I statements. The unexpressed anger built up inside my body. This is so annoying. Oh, my 9-year-old self struggled. I can't do this. I'm not answering until you do. My mother ignored me and focused on sorting her papers in the office. It's so annoying. I shuffled from one foot to another, watching my mother. I wanted to wear that dress to church. Now Tracy has it. It's mine. Okay, now we can talk. I still feel the frustration in my body from that moment today. I learned quickly through being ignored and told off for not using I. I statements became my way of life, but didn't solve all the frustration that I regularly felt. I is, of course, a great first step. I feel, I want, I need. Using I statements almost instantly makes anything you say afterwards a little bit more able to be heard. We all know the feelings of you statements. You did this. You are horrible, mean, a prick, etc. You makes us want to batten down the hatches, sink into a hole, yell, scream, fight back, or run away. Sometimes, albeit rarely, the person you are making the you statement to may concede. They may make you feel right, righteous even. But why did they concede? Did they no longer want to participate in the conversation in order to avoid a potential argument? Was it a real or true concession for them? You may be in the right. An objective person may tell you, you were so right with this one. But if we take a moment to look deeper at any issue, we may just be able to find something more. Example, Christmas stress. A conversation with your mother may go like this. Hi Mum, I wanted to let you know we're having Christmas at Maria's mother's house this year. Can you come to mine instead? No one's coming here this year. You know how important Christmas is to me. We came last year. It's only fair that we go to Maria's parents this year. If you weren't so pig-headed, you'll probably get an invitation. You're a cruel child. I've no idea why they still call you my son. Mother, you need to get over yourself and your needs. It's all about you. No, it's all about you. And the conversation circles until you abruptly end it by saying you urgently need to go somewhere, anywhere, but be on the call with her. What's happening in this conversation? On the surface, there has been a decision that Christmas will be between alternating parents. Underneath this short conversation, there is a lot more going on. Reflecting on your underlying emotional needs and that of your mother's could help change the dynamics of your relationship. You'd like your conversations to be easier, flow better, right? Here's how. In this example, what are your mother's emotional needs? You could guess, but once you feel comfortable, it's always more empowering for you and the other person to ask directly. And if she doesn't know, take a guess on how she could be feeling. It is likely to be, she's feeling lonely. She wants to spend a day that is important to her with people who are important to her. She doesn't want to feel isolated. She wants to feel valued and respected. Your needs in this situation could be, you don't want to disappoint your mother. You want your decision to be accepted. You want respect. You want to be heard and to let your mother know that sometimes her behaviour feels very inappropriate, obstinate, stubborn, etc. You want to maintain a good relationship. You want an easy conversation. This could still be a surface understanding of what's going on here. This conversation could be like many others before. It could be a pattern of interacting, an ongoing lack of acknowledgement of each other's wants and needs. You may not be able to see the conversation going any other way. It is actually possible for change. What change requires from you? Patience, attempting something new, attempting again, reflecting on the results and modifying if required. What change promises? Something new, potential healing, and easier, more pleasant ways of interacting. Let's look at the conversation again with alternative statements as a response to Mum. Mum's statements are kept the same. Example, alternative statements for Christmas stress. Hi Mum, I just wanted to let you know that we're having Christmas at Maria's mother's house this year. Alternative statement. Hi Mum, I wanted to let you know that we're having Christmas at Maria's mother's house this year. I wanted to see if you wanted to join, or we could do something separate with you on another day. What this does, it states the decision and offers a choice and alternatives and gives a bit more empowerment to the mother. There are options. Can you come to mine instead? No one's coming here this year and you know how important Christmas is to me. Note, she still could respond in the same way despite the above statement, depending on how entrenched your previous communications have been. We came last year. It's only fair we go to Maria's parents this year. If you weren't so pig-headed, you'll probably get an invitation. Alternative response. Mum, you know we spent Christmas with you last year, and I know how important Christmas is to you, but you know I need to be fair between parents. I can't always favour you, but we can have a separate celebration, or I can ask for you to come to Maria's mother's house. What this does. You're repeating your decision, respecting yourself in the process. By acknowledging what she is saying, Christmas is important to her. You are giving her options. You're a cruel child. I have no idea why I still call you my son. Note, it is unlikely that this would be the response if you use the alternative statement above, but let's just say you got into this statement again somehow. Mother, you need to get over yourself and your needs. It's all about you. Alternative response 1. I feel hurt by that statement, Mum. That really upsets me. What this does. Firstly, you're acknowledging and respecting your feelings. You're not blaming her, and you're keeping the conversation open. Alternative response 2. I hear that you're upset by my decision, Mum. You might be angry too. What you've just said is hurtful and upsetting to me. What this does. You're acknowledging her feelings by attempting to name them. This gives her a greater sense of being heard and acknowledged. Further, as above, you're acknowledging and respecting your own feelings. You're not blaming her, and you're keeping the conversation open. These types of statements alone will change everything in your conversation with others. The whole dynamic of your relationships are likely to change as a result. In summary, the key steps are: if you're going into what you expect to be a challenging conversation, prepare by thinking about what the other person's needs and/or emotions may be. Your opening statement to the other person may reflect what you currently perceive their needs could be. Repeat back what they say, what their wants are. This is active listening, in which you summarize the essence of what their thoughts are, not repeat back word for word. 3. Try and identify your feelings and others' feelings in the conversation and name them in a non-judgmental, neutral, open way. By practicing identifying your feelings and the feelings of others and naming them in a non-blaming, neutral way, the whole dynamics of your conversations will change. You'll begin to understand others' perspectives at a deeper level. Even if they seem strange to you, you will, as a consequence, begin to understand your emotions and yourself more. This will aid in every single aspect of your life. One step further. Practicing naming emotions in yourself and others is an art. What can help with this, with developing this, is to offer that you could be wrong and ask them to correct you. Be open to being surprised about what the other person may be truly feeling. Even within ourselves, it's often difficult to identify what we're really thinking or feeling, so be open to not knowing with others. Be curious by acknowledging that your guess about their feelings could be wrong. This empowers the other person to feel truly heard and acknowledged. It shows them that you're not telling them what they should be feeling or judging them, rather that you genuinely care about understanding what they feel. 2 steps deeper. Get even more honest with yourself. In the above scenario, it's likely that even more is going on beneath the surface than we've identified. You may be in a pattern of behaviour, words and emotions, and this may have triggered something for you. By sitting with how this conversation is likely to feel or how it felt, you can go deeper. Using this example, some of the following could apply. You may feel like the only option is name-calling, i.e. pig-headed, because you don't feel you'll be heard in any other way. Emotionally, it's a way for you to scramble to get your power back, where you've felt like you've had no power. This is likely to be unconscious patterning. You've never felt like your mother has respected your boundaries. You feel guilt for choosing another plan over your mother. You feel like you're trapped in a binary divide and there's always a winner and loser, and the loser is always you. You feel like you can't win in a situation or in any situation surrounding your mother. You don't want to disappoint, and you feel society pressure as well as family pressure to have Christmas dinner with your mother. You may have been emotionally manipulated your whole life and not sure what to do about it. You may feel helpless that things will never change in your family dynamics. You may feel potential rejection from your mother. You may feel like a victim, that you don't have power or control in the situation. You may feel hurt about a range of past experiences with her and not know how to begin to express it. Identifying any number of these and others will help you recognize the patterns in your life and conversations, and that recognition can change everything. You can begin to introduce into your conversations, I think I have some emotional patterning around rejection and being rejected, and I think this is playing out in this conversation. I feel like there is no way to get things right here. Can you help me with this? I'm trying to learn how to respect my needs in conversations with people that are important to me. Can you help me by listening to me and summarizing what I've said? I feel like I disappointed you, or that I'm a disappointment to you. Is that how you feel? I would really like to change our dynamics, Mum. I'd like to feel like we can all get what we want and need, i.e. everyone wins. So can you tell me what you're feeling now? I'm feeling anxious and stressed about this situation. Are you? And how about this one? I didn't tell you this before, and I should have, but I feel like expressing my feelings now will help us have a better relationship in the future. But last year, when you surprised me by showing up to my party with my girlfriend's family, I felt bulldozed and like I didn't have a choice. I don't want to call you names to your face or behind your back anymore. I want to be more honest. I want a more honest, loving relationship with you. I want you to ask me in the future if you'd like to come over. I'm not trying to exclude you, and I want you to express how you are feeling to me at appropriate times and what your emotional needs are. If I can meet them, I will. If I can't, we can brainstorm ways you may be able to get your emotional needs met. I want to be part of your life. I want us to be there for each other. And the only way I see me being able to do that is if we start expressing our real needs to each other instead of reacting and repeating the same patterns we've always done. So what I need from you right now is to think about what I've said, and I really need to be heard and understood by you. Are you able to think about what I've just said? This is where the drippy, sugary, sweet juice of change lies. The sediment of honesty that fills your belly is in deep satisfaction. The freedom of truly being able to express the truth of who you are whilst working on understanding further and healing together. Every one of us and every aspect of ourselves is screaming at us to pay attention, to listen, to be acknowledged and respected. But how could this work at work, in professional conversations? Well, I'm glad you asked. These skills can be used in every conversation you have. Work relationships can be more professional and stronger connections can be made. Many workplaces understand the skills of reflective listening, but almost 100% shy away from emotions. Yuck! Who would want to talk about emotions at work? That's for home life, if at all. We need to grow more comfortable talking about emotions at work, whether they arise as a result of our work or from another part of our lives. Burying our feelings creates problems, mainly in ourselves, as unresolved emotions cause stress, anxiety, and eventually other health issues. It also creates resentment. Resentment can be felt in offices. We need to open our offices up and get people talking. Buried and bitchy never works. Regardless of whether you're in a managerial role or not, you can employ active listening techniques and introduce concepts from nonviolent communication, mediation, and other communication tools. Every communication technique will help teams express and therefore function better. After enough practice, it will become a standard way of operating. Absolutely, leaders of teams and CEOs can show the way here. But even people within teams, that includes you, can start changing conversations by introducing the following. I'm getting the feeling that you're angry. Am I correct? Do you want to tell me why? When you did this the other day, I was a bit confused about why. Can you tell me about it? I'm triggered by this conversation. I don't know why. I'll find out by either going home and reflecting on it, or seeing a psychologist or therapist to work with. The time pressures of this deadline are obviously creating a lot of stress in the team. Do you want to talk about it or go for a walk? Or what do you think we should do to de-stress that is doable within the workplace? I'm feeling emotional today due to health reasons. Can you please go easy on me today? I'm getting the feeling of unresolved tension in the team. I would like us to start expressing what's on our minds. Talking to a certain members of the team and not others creates rifts and means we're not as productive. Let's get this out in the open. Note, depending on the team and personalities within the team, you can ask people to express themselves in a team meeting or by email by a certain date, or put anonymous feedback in a box to review it at the end of the week. While extroverts can talk off the cuff, introverts will need time to put their thoughts into words. Seeing work psychologists. Every workplace needs to have workplace psychology services for employees to access for free. Someone independent is crucial to allow safe space to process issues inside or outside of work. The limits to these services are usually that they are finite. With a small number of sessions available, it can be hard to dig deep. I've accessed work psychologists before. They have given me practical tips on how to manage stress or dynamics within colleagues at times I've found challenging. It was also invaluable to debrief with someone outside the office. There are limits to seeing any psychologist. Firstly, a psychologist can only work with what you tell them. Some people see psychologists for years without seeing any noticeable change. Often that's because they either haven't gone deep enough with their truth, they have just wanted to be listened to by someone once a week, or they've lied to themselves so deeply that they believe and present their truth convincingly. Secondly, psychologists are bound by confidentiality. Even if two people in a partnership are seeing a psychologist, not being able to integrate or show different information to the other is limiting. Bringing people together is ideal, as well as each having their own processing time, which then interacts with the group session. And let's face it, like all professionals, some are better than others. Some you'll click with, some you'll despise. It's about getting the right fit for you. And more importantly, it's about finding someone who helps you to dive deep and pushes you into new ways of living that feels empowering for you. Brave communications. On the surface, communication appears easy. We're communicating all day with our words, body language, silence, tone, eyes, the way we dress and how we act. Everyone is doing it, so it must be pretty simple, right? When we see that most conversations we have a wafer-thin layer of icing on a layered mousse cake, we can see that understanding these layers helps us connect and enjoy each other better. And we become less afraid of the sticky layers of emotions. In societies where crying in public is seen as a weakness and burying emotions is the norm, coming to accept your emotions and identifying them in yourself as others is both an art form and a brave step. Being brave enough to commit to changing your conversations with everyone in your life is a big step. Once you start to see the relief, ease and empowerment that applying these techniques brings, you want everyone around you to learn them. Exercise, the art of communication. The art of communication comes down to a few key things. Number 1, listening wholeheartedly, without an agenda, with care. True listening takes practice. Stop yourself from jumping in with your story or just listening to respond. 2, reflection. Reflecting their words, feelings, story. Reflecting on your own as a result. It feels very confirming, healing to be truly heard by someone. Reflecting on how the other person's story impacts you is also very powerful. Taking time out for you and your reflection on your reactions to another's words, actions, or feelings that result as a rise of interaction. If you feel an emotional charge as a result of a conversation or connection, take time out to reflect why you feel this way. What emotion, thought, or feeling has been triggered? 4, own your feelings. If you have an emotional response, own it. I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel overwhelmed by this story information. I need to think about where this anger is coming from. I'm feeling this because I feel rejected by you. ... Number 5, observe the filters. Theirs, yours. Gently observing the filters someone is speaking through. Are they speaking as a victim or authority figure? Are they presenting more than one perspective? What's their dominant emotion right now? Are they consumed by logic or emotion? How could their story impact on how they see this issue? How could their political perspective, religion, culture impact on their views on this subject? How could their field of study or expertise impact on how they see this issue? And then for you, how would your parental figures see this person or respond to this person? How could your political perspective, religion, culture impact on your view of this subject? How could your field of study or expertise impact on how you see this issue? What is your dominant emotional response to what they are saying? Is it easy for you to understand their logic? All of these steps, questions and reflections in this chapter take time to develop. It's also not easy to do. So organise to practice with a friend, family member, colleague, therapist or coach. It takes bravery to analyse and express your true self and be open to hearing others. I guarantee, though, that once mastered, every interaction you have will be so greatly fulfilling and freeing that you'll wonder why you didn't go deeper sooner. That's the end of chapter 12, which is also the start of part 3, Brave Relating. The next chapters, there's quite a few chapters in this part, dive more into unconscious patterning, honesty, interactions, blindsiding, all sorts of really juicy stuff. I really love this part. It's like there's quite a lot of substantive chapters. So I'll be reading these out every night around this time, Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is in the morning for the Americas, early morning for the Americas, in the early afternoon for people in UK and London, and late afternoon for people joining me from Asia. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments on this chapter, really happy to answer them. I love talking about communication, emotional interactions. It's definitely one of my favorite subjects. So please send me lots of questions. I'm really happy to answer. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter, and looking forward to sharing chapter 13 with you same time tomorrow. Thank you, and have a beautiful evening, day, afternoon ahead. Bye bye.